Hey, Swing Dave, call this number back. I need $25 for this walk around sit down chair.
Productions. Been around the block. Been around the block.
Good evening. Welcome to Been Around the Block, episode 30. We have a very special guest with us tonight, but first let me introduce myself. I'm Brooks Southard. We have with us Chris Ross and Bradley Nemo Sparks. And very special guest with us tonight, Mickey Mills, former Life of the Party at our shows. Also, I'll let him just kind of explain Mickey's story, man. So Mickey's got 37 years sober, man. He's got a lot of experience, strength, and hope he can share with us tonight. He's a veteran. He's just an all-around badass, man. So we're glad to have you on the show tonight.
And happy Veterans Day tomorrow.
Yeah,
man.
happy Armistice
Thank
Day,
you.
man.
Been a long time since I've been called a badass.
Well, I mean, just own it, man. Hey,
I will
Chris, do
take
you want
that
me
as
to
a
take,
compliment that it was meant.
Chris, do you want me to take care of the banners tonight, dude?
Oh, no, they're popping up. I can take care of them.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, episode 30, man. I feel like this is a good milestone episode. I just want to take some time real quick before we get going. Thank you all the people who wished me a happy birthday. Man, it's been a really special birthday. Thank you guys. All you guys made a point of texting me, and so I'm just very grateful for that. So, and I'm sober. So there we have it. So how's everybody else doing? You said the 49ers won today, right, Nemo?
Yes, barely.
Barely. All right.
It was a good game.
Whose audio is that doing that? Am I tripping?
No, I think we're having some problem.
Okay. I think, man, Mickey's audio was good just a while ago.
Everything
Yeah.
sounds good here. All three of them.
Okay.
No, I think yours is screwing up now, Mickey.
What?
Uh-oh.
Okay. Seems like it's working okay here.
No, it's oh
It's
man.
spat up.
Let's try this. Did that help?
A little bit.
I took it out of full screen, so we'll see if that helps. I don't know.
Nope.
Nope.
What do you want to do?
Tell you what, you guys hang out for a minute. I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to drop out, do a couple of things, and come back in.
Perfect.
Bet.
Okay, cool.
Here,
Sorry about that, guys. We're having some technological.
All good.
Yeah, we'll get it figured out though. But we want to be able to put this on Spotify and everything. We've had some problems with that in the past, so we're just going to go through and man, it's been a good week.
Chris, how are you doing, man? When did you have shoulder surgery?
Man, I had shoulder surgery on Friday. I'm feeling like, I feel a lot better. Like, I don't have a intense pain in my shoulder anymore. They found a little, like, I guess it's like some type of cyst or something in between my shoulder and my
And we lost him.
Yeah, nothing.
It's a good night. It's a really, really good night.
We got Facebook users saying, "Yo,
What's up, Facebook user?
yeah, we don't know who you are." So, yo,
That's cool. Facebook user. It's
man, this is a good train wreck beginning. What's up, Bradley Sparks, Facebook user?
what's up, man or girl?
Or-
How
yeah,
are you doing tonight?
it's-
So
Hi, Chris. Say something. Yeah, nothing. Man, this is just a good train wreck to begin with, man. I'm
yeah,
telling
it
you,
is.
man,
I'm
loving
honestly,
this.
I'm. This is
Everything was
wild.
working.
How is
So,
that?
Oh, there you go.
That's-
It's working again. Just
He's
don't
back.
Oh, okay.
Don't do anything else.
Hold on. Talk again.
Ah,
I
Okay.
just sit
What,
still.
is there something wrong?
No, you're good
No,
now.
that's good. That's good.
Just
That's
sit
good.
still. It'll be good. So we want to apologize. Already, man, less than 5 minutes ago, everything was working perfectly, including our guest, including Chris. Chris just looks pixelated because the pain meds he's on. Don't mind that, folks. We're all good.
Yeah.
Bradley's good, man. He's coming out off again.
How do you feel about? So let's talk about how do you feel about taking pain meds while in recovery? And you are an opiate addict, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, how's that?
This is the second time that I've had to take pain meds. I'm kind of weird about it. Like, I won't take them until like an hour after I'm supposed to, and it's like I don't want to get addicted again. So I just know I'm in my head. I'm like, I don't want to continue doing. You know what I mean? I can just tell. I'm just tired and groggy.
So
Do you
my
got
question,
your wife monitored?
I was gonna say, do you have like an accountability partner with this?
Yes, I do.
Good.
Definitely do.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I've been fortunate. Like I've had a couple things where I might have needed pain meds, but I was able to not have to have them. Thank goodness, and knock on wood. Hopefully, I don't have to have surgery or anything like
And
that.
we're all, I think we're all three opiate addicts, right?
Originally, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not
Yep.
how it ended, but yeah, that's 100% where I was at for a long time.
yeah.
And yeah, that's something.
Ex opiate
X.
addicts. We got
X. So let me see. Make
Yes.
sure Mickey's not texting me. Yeah, folks, I gave Mickey this badass intro. Man, I called him a badass. All of a sudden, everything started fucking up. So I apologize.
that's usually how it goes. We'll get in this. We get in here 10 minutes prior to starting. Everybody's stuff's working just fine, and then we hop on the live, and it goes to shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all right. You know, there's worse things that could happen. So, like I said, we'll get Mickey back on here in just a second. I think his friend tried to jump on, but we're not going to do that. We kicked him from the studio because he got the wrong link. But anyways,
Who's the Facebook user?
I
Tell us
don't
your
know.
name.
Hey, what's your name, Facebook user? Or is that just your username? Solid ass dude. Love me some Nemo. There's Mickey. Is he back?
Yeah, I think
He's back.
I think that might have helped.
What? Yeah.
I had to clean up my resources. I had a lot going on in the background, so I think we're going to be better now.
All right, answer your question real quick.
What's up,
Bradley.
Josh Carter? How you doing, brother?
There you go. All right, so do I need to re-give the intro? Because, like I said, I gave Mickey this hell of an intro and everything started fucking up. So I'm not going to do that again. So
Don't do that. Just quick introduction. I'm good to go.
all right, well, like I said, here's our guest tonight, Mickey Mills. Got 37 years of recovery, man. Love to hear your story. I've kind of heard a little bit of it in passing. I mean, you and I are obviously in the same music group,
Right.
boy band, if you will.
Boy band.
And like I said, yeah, happy Veterans Day, as we were saying. We're really
Thank you.
appreciative of your service. I was going back and looking at through some of your pictures on Facebook. Saw you in your Class A's. I thought that was pretty cool. Almost picked one of those for you, but I don't think it will work for.
Yeah,
the
there's a
format.
picture of me floating around with airborne gear.
Oh no shit!
Yeah, right in front of a Quonset hut in Korea. So,
No shit. Damn.
I was 2 years old when you got sober.
okay.
I don't think we've had anybody with like this much sobriety. I don't think we've had anybody over 5 years, have we? Or no, we have maybe not 10 years, over 10 years.
Who?
Who? How can I hear myself in the background? Is that you, Chris?
No.
Okay.
I think that's just yours because we don't hear you in echo or anything. So
Yeah, I got no echo. It sounds really good here.
yeah, everything sounds fine now. I got your echo off. I got your background noise.
Make sure it's your microphone. Make sure you're hooked up to your microphone, Nemo.
No, I am. Yeah.
Okay.
It's all good.
Real quick before we get into it, Facebook user, love you, Mickey, and Amy and Brian are watching you, of course.
Brian,
So I don't know why we're not
Brian's
getting names
friend.
though here.
We're not getting names.
Mm-mm.
That is weird.
Something must have changed with the permit. It doesn't matter. We'll just whenever you guys comment on here, just put your name in there. That way we can shout you out at the end.
Yeah.
That is weird.
I'm here. What's your name? Here. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So if you guys do chime in on the conversation, man, just put your name in there so we can shout you out at the end. But without any further ado, Mickey, let's get into it, man. Tell us about it.
I sent my sister the link so she may drop in. There's Callie's here. Hey, Callie, glad to have you with us. As Brooks said, I don't know if he really mentioned it, but we make music together. You know, we're in the band with couple other guys, and I play bass, and Brooks is lead guitar. So we kind of we really connected musically before we connected recovery. you
Yeah.
know. So I think that's pretty neat. Myself, I'll give you a real quick rundown on who I am, where I'm from. I grew up on the coast of South Carolina. I was born in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, 1954. So I just clocked over 70 with 37 years sobriety. So my sobriety date is August the 24th of 1987. Man, what a journey it's been. I've got to do things and go places and meet people, and just it's been a hell of a ride. And I've gradually worked myself west from the Carolinas, and I got sober in Raleigh, North Carolina in 1987, and have just kind of worked my way from Raleigh to Chattanooga to Nashville to Shawnee, Oklahoma. So I was actually over this way. I worked for GE for many years, and they transferred me to Tulsa right after the towers fell. So I spent 2 years in Tulsa, and then they laid me off, and then I went back to Nashville. But life's good. Spent a stint in the Army, and I will tell you that's kind of where I started to discover that things were entirely right with the way I was living life. My first treatment program was a military treatment center in Okinawa. They treated me for heroin. So as I said, I'm a pig, man. I've done it all.
So your drug of choice is yes, basically.
My drug of choice is what you got.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of the way it worked out. But it's kind of funny. Like marijuana was never my thing. Never. I was a speed guy. I was a barbiturate guy. Ups or downs. Marijuana made me think too much, and I didn't need to think that much. So and that becomes important because here a while back, I was diagnosed with lung cancer. So one of the things we started talking about in the treatment plan was I was going to do 6 weeks of chemo and 6 weeks of radiation. And one of the things they talk about to mitigate that, the difficulty and pain of doing those protocols, cannabis helped with that. And the doctor suggested, I said, well, I don't know. I'm going to have to run that one past my spiritual advisor. And we talked through that, and had cannabis ever been my thing, it wouldn't have even been a consideration. I would have never said, I would just tell the doctor, said, no, I'm not going to do that. But since it never was my thing, we talked it out. And my spiritual advisor says, well, if you're following doctor's instruction, do what you think is best. And so we integrated that into the treatment program, and it really did help. It helped mitigate some of the side effects of especially the radiation.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's kind of a bugaboo in the recovery community that a drug is a drug is a drug, and and of course in Oklahoma it's a medical marijuana state. So the doctor said try it. I did, and it helped. And now I don't need it. I don't. So there we go. So let's see. Kind of get back to the family of origin stuff. I left home when I was 15. Had a rather dysfunctional family in Myrtle Beach, and I kind of started my musical journey about the same time. I went to the Atlanta Pop Festival in the summer of 1970. Saw Jimi Hendrix 2 months before he died, and
that's cool.
Railroad, just a bunch of other acts across 3 days. And the amazing thing is I can remember the festival. Real quick story out of that. Me and this hippie guy helped this young lady to the OD tent. And so we took her to the OD tent. We walked out of the tent. We stood there outside the tent, smoking a joint. And he went his way and I went mine. The next day, I'm at the show and Poco comes on, and the guy that helped me get the girl into the OD tent was one of the guys from Poco, Jim Messina. And so Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I was thinking about that the other day. That I've had brushes with guys like that over the years, and um, developed a friendship with Jorma Kalkinen from Jefferson Airplane, those kind of things. And just I've had an amazing life, met a lot of amazing people, and uh, what else you want to know?
Well, I mean, let's talk about. You said you were in treatment at Okinawa. You also said like, okay, so let's just talk about like what made you hit rock bottom. What made it stick this time?
Well,
'Cause you
it's
said you got
kind
sober
of
in
funny,
'87.
and I'll share this that I made my first treatment when I was 20 years old, and so over the next 12 years, I'm stopping and not stopping. Yeah, I'm relapsing. It's just,
Yeah,
those years between 20 and 33 when I got sober were just unbelievable. The way that you live your life when you're in that mode. I do remember when I was 25 years old, I woke up one day. I said, I don't think I'm going to do drugs anymore. They're just not doing it for me. And I did, man. I just stopped doing drugs altogether. Now I never could do that with alcohol. You know, I was a blackout drinker. Uh, Alcohol put me in some pretty significant situations. You know, relationships. Legal situations. That's kind of the baggage that comes along with that if you're in the kind of shape I was in. So I started rooting around 12-step programs when I was 20 years old. So, it took, if you do the math on that, it's about 50 years that I've been kicking around the recovery community, of which 37 of that I've been clean and sober. So, um, I've got to do a lot of things, meet a lot of people. I've traveled overseas quite a bit. One of the byproducts of being clean and sober is I went to work for a Fortune 500 company, and with that company, I got to travel a lot. I've spent a lot of time in Europe and Amsterdam and London, places like that. Frankfurt, Germany, Caracas, Venezuela, Middle East, quite a bit in the Middle East. Went to the Suez Canal quite often. Had a lot of work down there. So I'm a
And was
world.
this during your addiction?
Uh, Actually, no. I was already clean when I started those kind of works.
Okay, so what? So you go to rehab. You're detoxing off heroin, right?
Right,
How
right.
old were you?
I was 20.
Okay, and then
I was a
so
terrible. I mean, yeah, I'm a veteran, but I was a terrible soldier because I was. I mean, I was doing a lot of drugs and drinking a lot. Here's the funny thing about that. Yeah, I needed to be in treatment, and my drug of choice at that time was heroin, but I was still drinking alcoholically.
yeah.
and
Which
that's
is
what a lot of people that were in war during that time. That was their drug of choice, right? I
right.
mean, yeah.
Well, I mean, you think of the military is a drinking community.
Yeah.
It's a big drinking club, and so when the drinking club says, "Hey, man, you're drinking too much," that the normal person would hear that and say, "There may be something to that," but I didn't. I just thought, they don't know what they're talking about. And I think that's the experience of a lot of people that are trying to figure out where they fit in their disease, or not even sure they got a disease. They just know that their drinking's out of whack.
So
And
did rehab work for you at 20 years
oh,
old? Did it
Lord,
work?
oh, Lord, no, Lord, no.
So what happened after? So what happened
Well,
after that?
I was in Okinawa and we were getting that good Thailand white, and so I backed up a little. I laid off the heroin as much as I could, or as much as I felt like I was able to. But what I did was I ramped up the other parts of the disease. I started smoking a lot of Thai stick and opium and the things that you could get in Okinawa, and drinking. If I don't know if are any other veterans here.
I mean, I finished basic training, started AIT, and then got kicked out.
Don't
Okay,
So
count.
it doesn't
congratulations.
really count. So
Yeah, so
doesn't really count.
you weren't much better of a soldier than I was.
I mean, yeah, it wasn't like I said. I never got to permanent party or anything like that.
Yeah,
Like I said, I got through part of AIT, and yeah.
So in the barracks that I was in Okinawa, they had the Coke machine and the beer machine. The beer machine got a lot more use than the Coke machine. And so you got to understand, it's a drinking society. You know, they encourage that kind of drinking.
So they had a vending machine with alcohol in it?
Had a beer vending machine. If I remember right, they were a quarter. So you could get a can of beer for a quarter in the beer machine in the barracks.
Cold.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, that's very cool.
Hell yeah.
Of course, now I wasn't. I mean, I'm a smart guy. You know, I know that, you know, rather than, you know, get beer out of the machine, I can go downtown and drink for a whole lot cheaper than that.
Back then.
Back then.
Yeah.
So yeah, those years between 1975, when I got out of the military, and 1987, when I finally ultimately got sober. And I'll talk about that year real quick. I'm working for a company in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I'm in my office. It's March the 4th of 1987. Phone rang, picked up the phone. It was my brother. I knew immediately something was wrong because my brother never called me, you know, so I knew something was wrong. And overnight that evening, our nephew, so my sister's son, was killed in a car crash. And he was more like a little brother to me, because we were, you know, his older brother was 6 years younger than me, and he was 7 years younger than me. So we kind of grew up together. And so I took it pretty hard. Now Jeffrey was a guy that I'd been to meetings with him, went to see him when he was in treatment. So we both had substance issues.
Yeah.
And so when Jeffrey died in a car crash, it was tough, but it wasn't necessarily surprising, because I know what the lifestyle brings.
So let me just kind of get some clarification. Was he intoxicated?
Don't know.
Nobody knows. Okay.
Because that evening after that, when I drove from Raleigh down to near Charleston where they lived, I went to where he was that evening before, and I was told he was pretty drunk when he left. Anyway, the gist of that story was from March 4th of 1987 to August 24th of 1987. I didn't draw a sober breath. Yeah. I climbed in a bottle, and that's how I dealt with that loss. And so my family, I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina, so I'm nowhere near my family. They didn't see what I went through from March to August, you know. And I was kind of in the situation where my employer was encouraging me to do something about my drinking, you know, and I probably wouldn't have lasted much longer drinking like I was. Now,
how old are you at this time?
I'm 32, getting ready to turn 33.
So the space in between 20 and 32, did you have any kids, get married, anything like that?
I've been married often. You don't live the life of an alcoholic, a selfish, self-centered alcoholic, without having some collateral damage in your life. Me, it was marriages, you know, because I'm the kind of guy that I'm a bit of a narcissist. So I would leave like I was going to go get a pack of cigarettes, and I might come back in 2 or 3 days. You know? And wives don't like that shit, you know. And here's the thing: I didn't see anything wrong with it. You know, what do you mean? What do you mean? I've only been gone 2 days. It's not like I'm a week, you know. Yeah, so you know, it was a perception thing. So, yeah, it was just tough times, and so when I went to treatment in August of '87, I was there. You know, I was saying, you know, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I don't live like this. I got to change my life. And I've been going in and out of 12-step programs for 12 years. and never could put together any kind of time. And not because I didn't know I was an alcoholic. I'd known I was an alcoholic for a long time. I just wasn't willing to do anything about it. And mostly I wasn't willing to do the solution that the 12-step programs offered.
Yeah.
Right.
I had some baggage that just wouldn't let me buy into that solution. And it was until I went the 28 days of treatment and got out and started back in 12-step program, and actually started doing some of the work that they talk about in the program. And here's one of the things you'd asked me was about the most significant event in my sobriety. And there's been several, but the one that really sticks out at me was I had been out of treatment 60 days. So I'm roughly 90 days sober. And this was the first time that the company was sending me on a work trip. So I went, I spent the evening before that trip with my spiritual advisor, talking about what I was going to do when I got down to Miami on this work trip. And the next morning I get on the airplane, fly to Miami, get a rental car. I'm driving out to the work site. And on the way out to the work site, I passed this place on the side of the road. It's called Club Pink Pussycat. And I love those kind of places, man. I love those gentlemen's club. And instantly I had a mental relapse because I was no longer thinking about the stuff I was supposed to do on this trip to maintain my sobriety. I just started thinking about the show.
So were you married at this time?
No, I was not.
I gotta ask, how many wives have you had?
This is my 6th marriage that I'm married to right now. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll run that down for you real quick because it's kind of neat.
Yeah, you're here to tell your story. I'm trying to hear it all.
You're gonna like this. Trust me, you're gonna like this. My first wife, I was 17, and just over. It didn't take long to figure out that we had way too much in common. We both like to drink whiskey and chase women, and so that wasn't really working for me. My second wife was a wild woman. We was kind of 50-50. I was half drunk. She was half sober. And within about 3 months, she took off to Baytown, Texas with a drug dealer. And I sure did miss him.
Yeah.
Third wife, the mother of my son, probably one of the best women that I've ever known. I threw that one away, as I did a lot of women. I threw a lot of really good women away. Because when you're selfish and self-centered to the extent that I was, I mean, I had very educated men tell me that I was a sociopath. And I looked up that because I didn't quite understand what that was. And I looked it up and it pissed me off. That if you look at what a sociopath is, it's someone that has no consideration for the feelings of others. And I didn't. It was all about satisfying my wants, my needs.
Yeah.
You know, and relationships won't last in that environment. They just won't. You know, you have to be generous with your time and resources and put into the wet marriage, which I never did. I was just very immature.
So did you already have your son when you were 32 and got sober, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. My third wife, the mother of my son, you know, he is now 43.
Right.
Also a musician. He's also a bass player, much better than I am. But, you know, me and her had been separated for quite some time. And so they're back down in South Carolina. I'm in North Carolina. And took a while to put that relationship with my son back together. But, yeah, we got a good relationship today.
That's good.
So anyway, back to Club Pink Pussycat. That evening when I get off the job side, I've convinced myself that I could go to Club Big Pussycat and watch the show and drink a Pepsi and be just fine, as we can convince ourselves of bullshit.
Yeah.
Right.
And I walk in, I sit down, and lady comes over and asks me what I want to drink. Now, get this, I'm 60 days out of treatment. I'm 90 days sober. She comes over and asks me what I want to drink. And what I meant to say was I want a Pepsi. But what I said was a vodka tonic. and it surprised me. I mean, it really shocked me, because before I walked in the place, I had convinced myself that I could go in there and see the show and be okay. And so she brought the drink to me like she's paid to do. And I sit there, and it's, you know, I can see that moment with absolute clarity today, because it was that battle, the good and evil, the am I or am I not, you know, the fork in the road, you know. And
Right.
for the very first time in my life, I could see the other side of that drink. It had never happened before. I had never thought about where that evening could go if I took that drink. And I did everything you could do to that drink except drink it, man. I put it in my face, and it was nice and cool. And I can close my eyes, and I can visualize the condensation on the glass. I mean, I can look at it today. It was that kind of impactful moment. And a few minutes later, I got up, threw a $10 bill on the table, walked out to the car, and cried like a baby. I mean, just big, ugly tears. Because I knew. I mean, I knew the jig was up, and someone had
Did that establish powerlessness for you right there?
Well, here's what that did for me is I think some higher power reached inside of me and tore away the obsession. Because since that moment, I have not had the obsession. The obsession was removed in that moment, and that's the most significant moment of my recovery. Because
And I think we all have those moments.
yeah,
You know,
I think you've got to have those moments to really buy into the solution.
right.
You know? And the one thing that I talk about is that, you know, when I started trying to get sober that time, and my spiritual advisor had said, you know, you need to learn how to pray. And I've never been a prayer. You know, I've never been a church guy. My mother saw to it that I was in church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. You know, I didn't want to be there. I never did want to be there. And, you know, I thought God didn't have anything for me, or I didn't want anything from him. So when I started talking to Jim about that, he said, why don't you start asking God to help you stay sober? I said, well, Jim, I'm not much of a prayer. He said, I didn't care. I didn't ask you how you pray. Just do it. You know, you don't even have to believe it. Just take the action. And I wanted to be sober really bad. And I said, okay, Jim, I'll do that. So the long story of that is that morning, before I hit the plane to go to Miami, I asked God to help me stay sober that day. And I think that's what happened, because I think that higher power gave me vision to see the other side of that drink, to see where that night could go. I mean, because I'm the kind of guy, you know, once I get going, you know, it's I could roll that rental car, gone to jail, gone to hospital, lost my job. Any number of things could have happened by taking that one drink.
Yeah.
And
So
so
you played the tape all the way through.
I played the tape all the way through. And I think sometimes we miss that's part of the defense against that next drink. You know, and the good news is, in recovery for an alcoholic, the only drink you have to be wary of is the next one. You only got to deal with one drink, the next one. If you can keep away from that next one, then you can stay sober a long time. I'm proof of that.
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys with a lot more time than I got.
So you get that moment where you feel like God had removed the obsession, right?
You know, I'm convinced of that.
So was it at this moment that you decided you were really gonna put in some work?
Yeah. Everything changed after that. I started going to things with my spiritual advisor. And one of the things he got me doing was there was a men's workshop in Atlanta twice a year. And I went to that religiously for many years. And a lot of who I am and what I am is because of my association with those guys. Because I got to know a lot of people and from all over the country, because people were coming from all over the country to go to this men's workshop. It was that powerful. And one of the most spiritual men I ever met was a Catholic priest who always gave the Sunday morning spiritual talk, and just helped me through a lot of the religious baggage that I brought with me.
Okay.
So he helped me out quite a bit, and he's dead now, but helped a lot of people in the recovery community in Atlanta. Matter of fact, he was the key guy at one of the big treatment centers in Atlanta. So
There we go. Hey, just so you know, I'm looking at all these comments. I've got some people that are commenting stuff. I have no idea who they are. So
Yeah, guys, do not take no offense.
yeah, we're trying
we
to.
can see your comment. We just cannot see who is commenting. All
It
it
just
says
says
is
Facebook
Facebook
users.
So,
So I'm trying to respond as we go because, like, I've had one guy ask a couple
It's
questions.
reading off Facebook, so we'll be able to see their name at the end.
Okay, as long as you got that.
Yeah.
So yeah, just heads up. I mean, like I said, we're having some technical difficulties tonight because we've got a lot of people trying to interject and ask questions. So like, I'm curious who this is. It says Mickey looks very familiar. Does he go out in the community to help others? I feel like I've seen him on social media before. I answered that as best I could. But again, we don't know who's actually asking the questions.
That is Kelly Anderson.
Kelly Anderson.
Yeah.
Name ring a bell?
Does not ring a bell.
So somebody else asked Chris, "Yo, bruh, are you in the lawnmower shed?" I said, "Yes, he is."
That's Paul. Shout out to Paul Dawson. He's been commenting on here all night. Yeah, he is. That's his studio, y'all.
Yeah,
don't
man.
call it a lawnmower shed.
Lawnmower shed. Yeah.
He's the lawnmower man.
I took the lawnmowers out of here.
That's good. So it's just a studio now.
Yeah.
So who said talk to God like a homie?
I'll comment to this one, talk to God like a homie. One of the things that, because I still had some religious baggage, and one of the methods in recovery was developing a relationship with a higher power. And I didn't quite know how to do that. So my spiritual advisor says, if you could design God, what does that look like? Write it down.
Yeah.
And I went to a notebook and I just started doing bullet points of what I thought God would be if I could design God. And the funny thing about that is, at the end of it, when I looked at that list, it was all the same stuff that I heard in church. God is love. God is forgiving. God is, he wants me to be healthy and happy and healed. And I heard a guy at the podium at this Atlanta Men's Workshop one time changed my perception quite a bit. He says, God doesn't want you holy. He wants you healed.
Yeah.
That's all. Just be healed. Do things that promote healing. And so that's kind of the way I've tried to live my life over the last few years is, just be of service and share a message if I've got one. If somebody's struggling, help them out. Be generous. How do you combat selfishness?
Yeah.
Generosity. You act opposite of the bad behavior.
Yeah. Act as if until.
Act as if, exactly.
Yeah. I know that, and this is something I've had a discussion with some people lately about that. And what I've kind of shared, I do H&Is and stuff. And that's one thing that, my high school experience was homeschool, and it was Southern Baptist. So I was already going to hell anyway because I'd blasphemy God or whatever at one time. So it's hard to kind of, I think a lot of people come in with prejudices because of the way they're raised. They're like, well, God doesn't want me anyways, and it takes a lot. It took me a little bit to get over that myself, but it's kind of like what you're saying, Mickey. You just kind of inventory what you think God would be. And, that's, again, it's similar to what was kind of preached, but it doesn't have the
So
opinions of others put on it.
to me, why I advocate and push recovery so much is the rooms of recovery to me have become what the church should have been.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give an example. Like me and my wife was just in church last Sunday, and we're sitting in the pews, and this tall blonde lady and her daughter walk in front of us, and you could just feel like she looked back at me, my wife, and kids, and like she was just disgusted. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole vibe, like she did not want to be sitting around us. And she gets up and like they end up moving to the front of the pew, and it was just like that whole not accepting, feeling like you're an outcast, uh, is what the churches are filled with. That, man, you cannot tell me they're not.
Yeah.
They are filled with a bunch of people that are whitewashed on the outside, and they look good. They're pretty. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But their hearts are so far from God.
But
So far.
I can't let myself buy into that. Here's if you're involved in the community, in the recovery community, there's a theology of recovery. Just like in the church, there's a theology in the church, and it's very that theology of religion. I mean, it spans all the different aspects of religion, whether Protestant, Catholic, Jewish. This same philosophy is kind of the same. I mean, that
Right.
They will tell you how to honor God. They will tell you how to pray to God. They will tell you how to make offerings to God, and how to honor God in your life. And whether across all religions, the recovery theology is very different. The recovery theology is that there is a God, and it ain't you.
Yeah.
And if you'll hang out with us, we'll help you figure that out. What that means to you. And so that philosophy opened the window of recovery for me, because then I could start buying. I could disconnect it from the religious aspect of it and just approach it from the spiritual aspect of it, and just develop a relationship with some kind of higher power. And for me today, it's become more about just connecting with something outside of myself. Now,
Yeah,
early on in recovery, and you'll like this when we talk about the face of God, I needed a visual. So the face of my first higher power was George Carlin.
Nice. Okay. Fuck yeah.
Because I had heard George Carlin do a bit where he talked about that God would send you to a place where you would burn in forever pain and agony because he loved you. Well, I didn't really buy into that, but I understood what they were saying, because that's kind of how many religions push that message. And I didn't need that. What I needed a God that could heal me.
Yeah.
And so I had to connect it from that perspective. And I think at the end of the day, where we find our higher power is in here. It ain't out there. It's in here. It's in the heart.
I think I heard. I listened to Joe and Charlie. I used to listen to them a lot. I need to go back and refresh. But I think they talked about that, where a man goes out and he tries to find God, and he goes to the top of the mountains. And he can't find him. He goes to the end of the earth, can't find him. Goes all the way out in the sea or something. And I'm just paraphrasing. Can't find God anywhere. And they asked him. They said, "Well, did you try to look within? The one place we never try to look. That's where God resides."
Yep.
so what I was getting at, and I wasn't trying to throw shade on the church at all, you know. I mean, like I said, me and my family, we go to church, but that's the example that I was giving, you know, like when I walked into the recovery rooms a mess, I was accepted. You know, I was hugged. I was loved on. I was loved right where I was.
Right.
They loved me into who I became. You know, and that's what I mean by the recovery rooms have become what the church. I feel like the church is not anymore. Not all churches, you know. So there's some good churches out there, but you walk in, you got people that go to church and they ain't never dealt with the problems that we've faced, you know. And that's why I love the whole community of recovery is I can relate to you. You know what I'm saying? You tell me that you tell me your story and I can pick pieces from it and go, you know what, that sounds just like me.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit now about Mickey, where you're at now, man. What do you do to save your recovery? What do you?
What's Chris doing? I'm retired.
Okay.
Now I do some part-time work. I'm a computer guy. I'm actually doing a lot of PowerPoints these days. So I'm more of a graphic designer than anything, and it's just part-time stuff to supplement my retirement income. And I'm making music, and you know I'm doing sound for the band, and
yeah.
And so those are learned skills, and you know that's the thing that I've discovered about being in recovery. You can chase your dreams. You know, and I put my dreams aside for my disease. You know, once I started chasing my disease, my dreams never come into play.
Yeah.
What is I heard that an alcoholic will or a normal person will change his life to match his goals, where an alcoholic will change his goals to match his disease. You know? So it's kind of the same thing, you know. When I was active in my alcoholism, you know, that was number one. Everything else was secondary to that, you know. And then once that's taken care of and removed, then I can go about the business of restoring my life, reaching the potential that I think we've all got. We've all got potential. It's what are we willing to do to reach that potential?
Sacrifice,
exactly. You know, and the spiritual perspective of anonymity is sacrifice. I'm not looking for a pat on the back.
That's good.
You know, I just do what I do, not expecting anything in return. You know, one of the things my spiritual advisor taught me, he said, do something nice for someone every day. And if you get caught doing it, it doesn't count. So you do it in the spirit of anonymity. You do those kind of things, not wanting a pat on the back. You just do it because it's the right thing to do. And you heal out of it. Those are the kind of things that will bring healing.
And that's actually biblical, what you're saying, you know, like where it really is. I think it said do things to and don't pretty much don't tell others, and your reward will be in heaven. You tell others, you know you got your reward by the pat on the back.
Well, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. If you're expecting recognition,
don't go hand the homeless guy $1 and post it on
videotape
Facebook.
it. Yeah, it's has to. Yeah,
and I see that kind of shit all the time.
It's bullshit, dude. And it's like it goes back to the whole integrity thing, man. What are your fucking motives on that?
Well,
I want to.
What are you stroking there? Because it's not definitely trying to help.
Hope out of recovery. Well, some humility, some peace of mind, some serenity. I've got all those things, you know, and it's just because I stopped drinking. I heard someone say the other day? It was just recovery was giving up one thing for everything.
Yeah.
You know, all I had to do was give up my disease, and everything was the payoff.
Yeah.
Beautiful trade, ain't it? Ain't that a beautiful trade?
Yeah.
100%.
Well, and the disease is the opposite of that. The disease is you give up everything
for the one thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Facts. I gotta ask. So after you got sober, you were 32 when you got sober?
I actually turned 33 in treatment.
Okay, I was 32 when I got sober, so that's pretty cool. So you get sober. How many more wives did you have in recovery?
When you word it like
serious
that.
about the wives. I had 3 before I got sober, and then I got the sober wives, and I married a couple in Alcoholics Anonymous, and that didn't work.
So you didn't become perfect once you got sober, huh? Things
Right?
were
No. And my wife today is just a wonderful person, and we have just a marvelous life here in Shawnee. And
that's awesome.
yeah.
So, Mickey, we're going to go and jump into the question, and we'll
Okay.
kind of all answer that. But and I already told you what it was before. Let me go and hide that. What's the biggest moment that you've had in your sobriety?
Club Big Pussycat.
I mean, okay. That's it?
Really what? Because that moment changed everything.
Okay.
And I haven't had a lot of those. I mean, I've had some of those, but not to that extent. So when you say, what is the biggest moment? It's that moment when I recognized that God was doing for me what I couldn't do for myself. And that was stay away from that next drink.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
What about you, Nemo?
I'm going to let you answer next.
Me? Why me?
Yeah, you go.
Man, so
mine will be
wrong
quick.
dude.
Mine
Okay.
was the birth of my daughter.
Okay.
I mean, just everything about it. Just from hearing her heartbeat at 7 weeks old totally changed my perspective of abortions. I mean, everything about that little girl has kind of given me a paradigm shift in my life of how I look at things. Because I looked at them differently before, and also it was just a beautiful experience to experience that sober,
Oh, yeah. What about you, Chris? Can't hear him.
That's beautiful, Chris.
Can't hear you, Chris.
Brought me to tears. No.
I need tissues for that.
Silence is gold. I swear to God.
Oh, this is great. This is great, guys.
So, do you want me to go, I guess? Or Chris is probably going to pop in as soon as I start, so we'll wait on him. It's a Bluetooth.
He's lagging.
And he'll interrupt you, I promise you. Right when you start talking.
As soon as I start, I'm going to something.
There he is.
Say. All right, go ahead. What you got, Chris?
All right. Well, the biggest moment I've had in my recovery, it would have to be it was like a certain point in the podcast when the podcast started to really turn around. And, whenever I came up with the idea, and what's crazy is like Nemo, I think Nemo, you're the first person I reached out to about the podcast. It was probably like months before I even started. And whenever it started like turning and we're starting to hear these other people's stories, it's like I hear something in every single person's story that changes me a little bit every single time, no matter what it is. So pretty much the podcast has been a really big thing.
Yes. Beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Man, for me, dude, it sounds corny as shit, but dude, just this fucking being able to celebrate my 40th birthday sober, have my kid come up, get to have dinner with my old man, have dinner with my family. Man, all the fucking love everybody showed me, dude. It's been fucking cool, man. And it's, I had that looming fear for a while, like, oh God, I'm gonna be fucking old and all this shit. And then it's here and it's gone, man. And I'm just grateful, man. I'm glad I got sober when I got sober. And, dude, it's easy. Like I was driving this morning and I noticed I can get real ungrateful real quick, but it gets easier as I go along to be able to kind of get back centered and focused and realize how much I fucking got to be grateful for, man. I got a roof over my head. I'm not hungry. I got a vehicle. I got a fucking kick-ass job. Get to be a part of this podcast, get to be a part of a band. I get to fucking use the God-given talents that he gave me. And I'm not wasting them anymore living in a fucking prostitute's house on the north side of Tulsa, man. So, I mean, I got a lot to be grateful for.
What was her name?
Chris. Her name was Chris also with a K. But it was actually okay, so it was Yeah, I'm not going to go into all that right now.
Yeah, I'm kidding, but I didn't want to
That's,
know.
that's a story for another time.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh.
You have to come see me at a smaller get together, Nemo, and I'll tell you the story for sure.
I bet.
So, man, Mickey, dude, it's so cool. It's cool to hear your story, man. We'd like to have you back on coming up here in a little while. But the next thing we got to ask you, what's the question for the next guest? It can be anything. It can be about
What's
hot
the
dogs.
question
It can
for
be
the next
about whatever the fuck
guest?
you want, man.
Oh man, I like that question.
That one?
Yeah, that's actually a very good question.
Okay.
But I think I don't want to be a copycat, so what I would say is, how has your life changed in recovery?
How has your life changed in recovery?
You got that down?
How has your life changed in recovery?
Yes, I got it. That'll be our question for our next guest. Cool, man. All right, dude. So, Mickey, I will be seeing you, I'm sure, this week, and
Yeah.
I'll be seeing you Friday. So, for all you guys, we've been posting these on the video, but look, we got Daniel Carden, the Class 39, playing at Surrey Hills this Friday if you're in Oklahoma City. We're playing at the Grand Casino this Saturday. All our Cali homies. Is that the 17th or 16th, Nemo?
I will be in Cali I'll fly in on the 14th. Yes, the show's on the 16th, and I'll fly back 17th.
So there you go, man. Lots of cool stuff to do.
So if you are in California, hit me up on the 14th.
So there you go. And look
Boys
forward
and
to
toys. I like that.
I thought we were going to be doing some videos with Chris. I didn't realize he was having surgery, so we'll have to maybe do something with him gimped up coming up. I think we'll have to figure something out.
Let me go. Hey, since I can read everyone's name,
please give a shout out.
Let me shout everyone that commented. All right, we're going to shout out Kelly Anderson, Paul Dodson, Alicia Pennington, and that's all it's showing on mine. It says 64 comments. Why?
Okay, so let's go. I'm going to go to the Been Around the Block page and just see, because I had somebody just say. Oh, they said
sorry, guys, we can't read the comments on StreamYard. StreamYard's jacked up, bro.
Man,
they upped the price on us, and now they're doing this. We're gonna have to look at some other options.
So, what's the opposite of a shout out? Call out. StreamYard.
Whispering.
Call out. StreamYard. Fix your shit.
Yeah,
that's all I gotta say. So I'm just gonna go through the comments a little bit real quick. He put his name, I think. Nemo, we really need to chop it up. All churches. I'm not going to go into all that. Mickey the Pope, Earth is Hell. Amen to what Mickey said. I think I threw it up as we were going. Look at the sun and the moon, God's eyes. That's a good one. M23 has pictures of angels. I don't know what that means. It says Brooks, Woody from Toy Story. I don't know what that means either.
I'm kind of.
I know what that means. He's saying you look like Woody from. He's saying you look like Woody from Toy Story, bro.
I'm basically famous, man. It's cool. Being a naturally nice person, where I posted that one. Mickey the Mormon. I didn't post that one. That was kind of Bluetooth. That's in regards to Chris. Love you, Brooks. Love you too. I don't know who it is. Thank you all. Enjoyed it. This was awesome. Sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. Everything works out exactly how it's supposed to. Amen to that. Thank y'all. Holla. Paul Dodson needs to talk to Nemo. Playa, please. All right.
Thanks.
Message me, Paul. Message me.
It's been good, man. Thank you guys so much for joining us for episode 30. We will. It won't be next weekend, but it'll be weekend after that. We've got our next coming up guest. Chris, you have that scheduled, correct?
Yes, I do. On 24th.
Awesome. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in.
I'll see you on Friday, Brooks.
Sounds good, Mickey. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, direct message me, Nemo, or Chris. Like I said, sorry if we couldn't actually shout you out other than what from Nemo's page. But thank you guys for all tuning in. You guys got any questions, direct message us. We'll get you on the show, whatever. So thank you guys. Love you.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
$25 for this walk around sit down chair.
Production. Been around the block. Been around the block.